going to hear YB A. Sivanesan, who is the Perak State Executive Councillor, DAP Adun for Sunkai, and a Hindra representative and a Hindra lawyer.
Thank you. And before I proceed to speak, there were a few speakers, especially Dr. Sato was talking about Utusan Malaysia. And the Perak State had decided to boycott no government department at the expense of the Perak State government money is supposed to purchase Utusan Malaysia. I'm not talking about Utusan Malaysia, but believe me, it's a shit. Let me. And Sahib said we opposition should get together and now we should really define. In Perak we are not the opposition, they are the opposition. In Selangor we are not the opposition, they are the opposition. And in Pulau Pinang we are not the opposition, they are the opposition. And very soon, we will see us in the National Front. See, when you look at this case, Kerajaan Malaysia and two others versus Nasaruddin bin Nasir, which was decided in the year 2003 by Justice Steve L.K. Singh. He has referred to Section 8 of the ISA. The minister has been conferred powers of preventive detention that can be said to be draconian in nature, but nevertheless valid under the Malaysian Constitution. This is what. And we all agree, it's draconian. But you know something? You need protection in this country. If you look at your left and right, if your friends sitting left and right, they stare at you, you fear for your life, you go to your office, your colleagues stares at you, you fear for your life. You look at your neighbor stares at you, you fear for your life, don't go to the police. Go to Amitabha. He will give you protection by putting you under ISA. A great lawyer. That's how he gave protection to Teresa Kong. That's how he gave protection to the reporter. You see, what is the ISA used for? Isn't that good? They're protecting us. So what's the complaint about it? Oh God, you have got this kind of law ministers who are supposed to uphold the law. And prior to that, the purpose of ISA was to deter communist activities in Malaysia. Nothing new. The first Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tunku Abdul Rahman, defined the purpose of the act as to be used solely against the communists. My cabinet colleagues and I gave a solemn promise to the Parliament and the nation that the immense powers given to the government under the ISA would never be used to stifle legitimate opposition and silence lawful dissent. The third Prime Minister, Tun Hussein Hong, stated,
May I just interrupt you for 1 second for a very short but very powerful announcement. Now, as you can see, there are many of our supporters holding very transparent boxes for some collection. So do please give generously, because holding a meeting like this does cost some money. So we hope that you will politics as deeply as you can and be judicious. Thank you. Sorry for interruption. Please continue.
And that was the first Prime Minister. Now, what does the third Prime Minister, Hussein says? He stated at the same time that his administration has enforced the act only with a view to curbing communist activity, and not to repress lawful political opposition and democratic citizens. This is reaffirmed by Hussein. Then comes the first Internal Security Minister, Ismail Abdul Rahman. He says, now he is playing a different tune. He says, this is to those in opposition who the government democracy is interpreted to mean absolute freedom, even the freedom to subvert the nation. See, how is this ISA, which was initially intended to curb the communist activities, the assurance given by the first Prime Minister, the third Prime Minister, and how they were diverted from, and now they come to politics. And is this what the ISA was formed? Now we come to the great Abdullah Badawi. Abdullah Badawi in 1988, he said, quote, if we want to save Malaysia and UMNO, Dr. Mahathir must be removed. 1988. He uses draconian laws such as Internal Security Act to silence his critics. This was during the UMNO crisis in 1988, where he was struggling for himself. The year before, he had also stated laws such as Internal Security Act had no place in modern Malaysia. This was in 1988. I wonder whether Malaysia is modern to Badawi today. And further, it is a draconian and barbaric law. However, in 2003, when he became the Prime Minister, Abdullah called the ISA a necessary law and argued, we have never misused the Internal Security Act. All those detained under the Internal Security Act are proven threat to the society by opposition parties. Believe it's threat to UMNO rather than threat to the country. Could you imagine Teresa Koch being a threat to the national security? Can you ever dream of the Chief Minister of Pulau Pinang in 1987 was detained under the ISA, a threat to the national security? If he happened to be a threat to the national security, how can he be the Chief Minister of Pulau Pinang today? These are not people who are